Tim. So thanks again, everybody. You're welcome. Without much ado, let's go into our training. Today, we're going to go into the printing side. Let me see. You should be seeing my screen now. Good. Today, we're going to talk about the printing. We're going to the resource. I will try as much as possible to go back into the resource just as I've taught you last week. I'll go into costs. Then we will pick up new topics, group and sort, filter, baselining, assigning baseline, and then possibly end value. But if I'm not able to treat end value, then we're going to end value next week, and then we start talking about end value and reporting and what it means in terms of reporting. After which would be the end. So I go back to printing. If you remember that though you could use this tool, the preview and print itself, there are more here in file. There are about 4 sets of printing icons, and those 4 sets can still be found in this tool because once you click it, it starts bringing out 1, 2, 3. This is publishing publishing on website. One, if you publish this on websites, it creates like a web page, and you could send the web link to the hyperlink to anybody that would like to see it. But it's not commonly used because you could put it as PDF. PDF has prevailed, so to say. You could put it as PDF, which is the very common approach. Put it as PDF, and then send to whoever you want to send it to. So let me go back again. Just a minute. So I'm going back again, and I'm clicking here. Print preview. I rather always use the print preview first. My reason is for me to see how it will have a feel of how it will look like before giving it to anybody. Go back to minus. This plus is to enlarge, and this minus is to reduce. From what I've seen here is like the setup is not yet done. So I'm going to page setup. Yeah, I like mine to be landscape. A3 is telling me that it's not accepting the fit into one page. So I'm going to go to option to see why the activity has not been picked as well. So because the activity has not been picked, that was why it was blank. Apply. Okay, yes, I found it. I'll go back again. You need to just fiddle with it, but understand what you are fiddling about. I want it to fit into one, so I would apply, and I think I'm happy with what I've found here. Then the next question I need to ask is, am I happy? If I'm happy that the pages are now appearing, which is good, the next question I need to ask myself is, am I happy with the content? If I'm not happy with the content, then I need to, if I needed more information in the content, then I need to go and say, okay, I think I need to add, I want to add the cost. I want them to see the cost. I want them to see the hours. So let me go into units, and I'll say I would like to see the budgeted and the budgeted non-unit. I also like to see the cost, budgeted costs. So we have the baseline, we have the budgeted, baseline budgeted, we have the baseline as well. Baseline budgeted is We'll talk about baseline later on, but whatsoever you've kept in the stock for baseline becomes the baseline budgeted. Okay, so this is what I want them to see. Let me see, is this fine? This is fine. So it says there's no at all, meaning that there is a problem with the resource, but we would handle that because if we have labor units, if we have non-labor units, what that is telling me is that there is no assigned ratio of cost to hours, which is what is here. So though we have units, there is no assigned cost to what a unit should represent. Does it does it have is there a ratio between the hours per cost? Which yes, there is always a ratio, but sometimes in some companies they don't even want to put that. I'll give you an example. We don't want to present to the client what 1 hour represent per cost because the client quantity surveyor or the client commercial man may say, so you are charging us 65 pounds per hour and you are putting 30 pounds per hour as your budget cost. So it means that you are ripping us off, things like that. So those are some reasons why some companies may not put cost at all and just put only hours and say use 5 hours, we are using 5 hours. We told you we're going to use 2 hours, we're using 2 hours. We are not changing our stance. So there are reasons why everything can be zero, and there are other reasons why um, everything has to have a cost. We will talk about that when we get into the go to the printing and says, okay, I'm satisfied. Then let me look at the Gantt chart. Does it have all the information? It doesn't seem to have all the information. Do I really want to show that? If my answer is yes, I'll still go back to the setup uh, and say, oh, okay, I started here. I would like to start on the current date or the earliest project date and the earliest and the latest project finish, and I will put at least 1 month. So that's plus 1 month, and this minus 1 month. So if I put minus 1M, that's make it 1 month away from the project earliest project start and the latest project finish. My reasons for that is so that there are spaces in between the Gantt chart and everybody can see what is in between the Gantt chart. So this is a well presented information. And then I would click on my print. It's 8 pages. I think that was where we stopped, where you click on the print, then click on print, and then save it as black, uh, black and now this is me saved. In some other cases, for other standard approach, this is that was where we stopped last week. But let's go into other aspect report printed. In some cases, they may want you to edit um, edit information at the top, Black and Scott training, classic WBS, and things like that, and also things edit things below. They may want you to put more information below or put more information above, which is where we are going this week. You click on this, we have the margins, which I told you last week, the header, the footer, the options. So I think we've talked about the options here, and I think you are much aware about this. Now we go into the header and the footer. You can click on the header and say, what do I want? What do I want for the header? That's for this. If you notice, the header has one, Black and Scott training, two, classic schedule layout, and three, um, date and time, exact time. This is as a result of this. And if you look at the top line, I've divided everything in proper percentage. So let me just and say, okay, I need this to be 58, this to be 25, and this to be 17. Apply. So if you notice, the line here has moved from the central point and gone a little away and gone a little away, all due to this. Now, the limit to what we have here is you can either put nothing, and if I apply, that goes away. So if you notice, the black and Scots is gone, or you can put your Gantt chart legend, which is what was below, all the colors below. You can put pictures, and often those pictures are, the standard is that you put your company logo. Your company logo can include the logo itself and some text attached to it as a prefix. It could also put well, you could put just ordinary pictures of evidences, because even in P6 you can present pictures showing even progress of what has been done. You can put stored images, you can put logo, you can put revision box. A revision box, it's more like, if you remember what I said in AutoCAD, in drawings, you put revision boxes to show how you have a detailed what has changed, which the client can also ask in P6 Primavera software, in planning, what has changed, what have you added into the planning? Have you changed any WBS that has been agreed? Have you changed any activities? So you can put that, and it asks you, what change do you want to put? I can say on the 12th, 2023, there was, that's invalid. Okay. December 2023, yeah. So which is the WBS code, and checked by client, total, and approved by total, is approved by I was a company, any company name, approved by SSE, and I'll say, okay, I just need just one, delete this, and just this, applied. So if you look at that, it has that, but doesn't have the information. So um, what that means is that I'll need to go to the margin, the top margin, and then make it 0.9. That's too much. Okay, so let me see. It's still not showing. Um, Margin again, 1.1, 1.5, 1.5, 1, 1, 5, margin, often at times, something like this are always at the bottom rather than the top because let me see, out. Let me rather take it to the bottom so that I don't waste my time because this requires more editing. Add uh, font. I might change the font to 8, black. Scroll. Show divided line. Oh, pages, first page, just the first page. Okay. Oh, I've lost it. Okay. Uh-huh. So apply back. I think I've lost my deep content. So I'm taking it back to default because I've lost my settings. So I don't need sort of lot of. So what I did was because I couldn't find my content, I just refreshed my system, um, I've just refreshed my what's it called? My information. And my reason is because I wanted it to reset itself so that whatsoever I have clicked unknowingly or knowingly would return back to what it was. So plus 1 month, plus 1 month. Margin, I've left it back for 0.5. So I've brought back this information. Um, Let me go back again to this, modify logo revision. Okay. I'll rather put the revision box, I'll rather put the revision box below. And my reason is because the revision box by default often always stay at the lower side, which I will come back and touch. So I'll put my settings, margin, header, uh, text or logo. Let me say text. Uh, Project name, I might not want it as a project name. I might just want it as um, data, data dates, add variance. So it's giving me both data date and project name. Project means that I have selected project name from here. And then if I choose project name, it puts the project name there. If I don't want any of that, I could write for myself. This is project tied to is a project design or Okay. Apply, and it gives me this. The same applies to this layout. If I want to change that, I may not want layout. I may want um, current week, apply. If I don't want any of that, I can write whatever I need to write. If I don't like if I don't like the text, I would change that here, put it 12 or 10 to make it loud or italic or bold. Change the color. If I want the color to be black, I can change any of the color. Underline if I want to underline it. So I've clicked on underline and I will click on OK. It's shown me as underline, and looking at that, it's changing. So those are things you can do. For the footer, just as I've explained, the same applies. Text logo, I could put this as logo. Often at times, this is where we put the revision box. So let me do the revision just as I just make it little. And it's 4th December, F1, and it's 2nd December, F1, checked by, checked by, sorry, checked by MPA, approved by. So let me see. Uh, so if you notice, we have that information here, Rev1, checked by, and things like that. So if I'm happy with this presentation, I could put pictures. Please play about with it. If you want to put pictures, please put pictures. Play about with it. Like I said, if you have any questions, get back to me. The activity name, if you're not happy with the activity name is, you can push it this way, play about with it, then go back again, review, check, okay, the activity name is fine. If you're happy with the presentation, I'm not happy with the presentation because the Gantt chart is out and about. So I could go back again. How do I want the Gantt chart to look like? Double click here. It gives me the Gantt chart. Look at the presentation again. Oh, okay. I'm happy with it. It seems to be satisfactory. So if I'm satisfied with the layout, I can come to the layout and say, okay, please save the whole presentation this way. It's like I'm going to use this for the boss. So I could call it save as, I think I like this presentation. So I can say save as and call it client. Black and Scott use, and then that saves it. So to next time I go to print, I don't even need to preview because it will give me, all I need to go is just click on print and it takes me straight, and I press the print and it takes me straight away to what I need to do. I like it the way it was and I've saved it. So that's that about printing. If you have any other questions, please, there are still some little things about printing that I have not mentioned. I would want you to play about with it and get to have a feel. Um, so let's go straight into resourcing and cost. I think I've touched that on 2 occasions, but I really want us to kind of dive through a little bit. How do I minimize this? Okay, good. I want to dive through into it a little bit, and my reason is because in some companies they are resource oriented, they are resource driven, and in some other companies they are cost driven. I've worked in those areas where they are just duration driven, other companies just cost driven, is resource driven. Now, my I need to check, I'm giving this program, does this program have resource? So I need to check if it does have resource. I'll click on the resource. Ah, okay. There is resource here. But again, if I want to check, I could just right click and tap on the resource general list. Should give me resource here. Give me all the resource. Now I don't want percentage. I'm not concerned about percentage. I'm not concerned about remaining duration, original duration. I just need to know about resource. So that this is resource. I need to check, where do we have resource? Where do we not have resource? Okay. So there is resource here. The program is resource loaded. And that's the term I would like you to use, resource loaded. And how do I know? There is Hotman, there is Printer, there is Rating Prime. Rating Prime, let me check. Rating Prime is a non-label. Rating Blast. Rating Blast is non-label. So we have non-label, we have label. If I want to be sure, let me go to Enterprise, Resource. Um, I don't want for all the projects. I just want for the current projects because I don't want to start looking at other things. So this is non-label, non-label, non-label. Now that we've used them and they told us that this is material. Paint is a material. Prime is a material. Let's see. Can we make any changes? Um, it's possible, but it will not accept material. Look, the resource type cannot be changed because of this resource is currently assigned to one or more projects. So that is one key thing you need to take away from here, that once is assigned, you can't just go and start making changes to the setting. It won't accept it. Whether you would to make that changes, you have to remove all these resource. As you go here, you click on see, you click on remove, and then after clicking on remove, you go back to your resource, then start making changes that, oh, this is a material. Blast is sand, so it's a material, and prime is a paint, and rating paint is a paint. The difference between prime and this is the chemicals put. Hydroblaster is water, uh, but hydroblast is water, but hydroblaster is a person that will blast the paint with water. So this has to change. And it has to change because it's 8 per day. We're supposed to be saying things like 8 gallons per day, or eight for the paint, 8 gallons per day. For the blast, one per day, one metric tons, or 1 cubic tons, or 1 cubic area per day, or square meters per day. So there is some problem here from my own perspective, because as a planner, those are factors I need to put into consideration. Now, talk to the commercial, you might talk to the quantity surveyor, and the quantity surveyor say, okay, leave it as this, leave it as this, leave it as this, then create another activity, no, create another resource to say paint, blast, and assume that the paint, rating paint should be labeled. The commercial could give you reasons, and you could have a chat with the commercial and be satisfied with that. Having said that, let's assume that all that is being said and done. Then uh, we have cleaners, hydroblasters already being put in the program. I would want to look at uh, I would want to look at um, this resource. How do I start analyzing my resource? Before we go, don't forget, once you see the head of a person, it's all about resource. So we have 1, 2 here. We have 1, 2 here. We have 1, 2, which is about 6. We have resource roles is also part of resource head. We have another head here. Code assign is another thing entirely. Resource shift. In projects also, we have resource assignment. So we have about 8 to 10 resource discussions to make before we go today, and it could lead us to cost. Um, in previous sessions, I've taught you how to add resource and how to create resource. You go to resource, you can add using this button. I'm going to add, in order to add, filter will be changed to display all resources, which is true. So it's going to say all, and then I can then come here to say, okay, R1, RP10. I'm going backward because I need to take a very big leap forward. Very client quality assurance. It's going to ask me, is that a material? I'll say it's a labor. How many hours a week? Just say, okay, I'll just leave it for 8 hours, maximum 8 hours. Any costs? No, because it's a client. Finish. Office email, not necessary. Any comments you need to write about the roles, you can add roles, but that means I will have to click on all roles, which when I click on all roles, it brings me to all this. So tradesman, I can put him as part of management, or let me see if I have clients, corporate, project leader, success, business, change manager, process manager, consultant. Let me call him consultant. So he's part of the consultant, close. Next, select existing calendar. I'm happy with the current calendar. Next, 5 days a week. Yeah, so it's not going to work on Saturdays. Yes, finish. So I have these. So when I go to my activity, for all the quality control, now I'm taking it to a step. I'm clicking. Um, I want to add that resource to all quality control. So I need to do something I've never done before. So I'm going to say, I'm clicking on this, I've control copy, quality control. I'm going to my filter. I've not taught you filter, which is part of what I said I'm going to teach. So this is it. So I'm saying I'm looking for, I want to filter out an activity name that contains what I've just called quality control. And my reason is because I want to assign for all quality control within the project. So yes, I've done that. Let me go back again. So what I've done is I need to filter out all activities that contains the word quality or contains the word quality control. So I've said, okay, I need to filter activities that contains quality control. So I've clicked on activity names that contains, and I don't want to use equal because if I use equal, that contains ends with equals. I don't want to use equal because if there's any gap, if there's any flinch or gap that I didn't add, it might not accept it. So contains means, okay, you could either find the word quality or you could find the word control. So click on that. Yes, I've clicked and said, is that what I want to say? me all this name, and I'm looking at, I still have my resource, so it doesn't have any assignment, and I want to assign for all of them. I would click on this, client quality assurance. Now, notice that I have clicked here, but if I click on my control button and say, please add to the second, it's going to fill it down. So the only way to do that, to add to everything, is to add. You click on the add below.
Hello?
Hello?
I think we've lost Magnus. Just give him a few minutes.
Yeah, sure. I just want to mention something as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you notice that, oh, okay, I don't think, can you see my screen?
No,
Can you see my
No.
screen?
no.
No.
It's okay. Just a minute. Everything got almost lost when I. Okay. So if you notice that after taking that step, that's doing both the filter to just filter quality.
We can't hear you.
I think he's frozen again.
So the next step is now we would analyze our resource. So first of all, I'm going to look at all the resource and say, let me check my resource to make sure that I'm using my, let me see the current resource. So I have the quality assurance, which was there. All this does not have a role, and all this does not have unit for measurement. We don't have classification, location, and department. All that can be sorted out from its details. That's resource details. And then you can assign, but like I said, it wouldn't allow you to assign if it's already assigned, the resource is already assigned to the project. Now, let's go into this resource assignment, which is this. So this resource assignment is a matrix showing you the resource in collaboration with the activity ID or the activity name or the activity. You often when you use resource, it's either you're on the resource itself, or when you go to activity, you're on the activity tab itself. But assignment combines these two together, and that is why you have the resource assignment. And so when I click on the minus button, I could see all the names of the resource that I use here. And when I expand, I could see all the activities that this resource is assigned to, and that is why it's called resource assignment. What's the advantage? The advantage is I could look at for all the resource where I have budgeted all the hours, where I've budgeted all the hours. So if you notice that for Saturday and Sunday, there is no hours assigned to it, which is what the calendars is. And you could do printing as well and just say for printing, I'm going to check all what I have done. Resource, I'm going to do calendar, project finish. I think project finish will make everything too clustered. So I'm just going to say to the current date, not the current date, because current date is to the future, current month. I could just say to June, just look and apply. That's not enough. I think that's two. And just say, okay, March. And so it gives me, and I would keep doing that, and it keeps expanding and giving me more information. If I just want for just a month, I would do that. So I could also expand and go to my and expand. Let's say 1 month. I think the best way would be, because of my time, but the best way would be that I could just right click here, time scale, just give me, I don't want days, I just want the months, and the week. So I'm satisfied that, okay, each month 40. So 40, if I would look at 40 means 40 is 5 times 8. That's 5 days times 8 hours. So this is, to me, I'll start my interpretation by saying this 40 hours means that it's one person and is using the 8 hours per day. All this is using more than 8 hours. In fact, this is going to use 161 hours a week. So I'm going to go into this and start asking myself, 1320. How are you going to use more than, so find 1320. How are you going to use more than 161? So this is where it comes. It's a non-labor, but it's acting like a labor because it's having 47 hours a day, and budgeted is 800. So this is where I start coming in and saying, no, this is not correct. 47 hours. Oh, who is going to work 47 hours? I need 8 hours a day, but I still the boss is saying that they will use 800. If they're going to use 800, then two things are involved. One, it's either we resource level or we resource smooth, and we'll go into that later on. So in resource, you start having a feel of what the hours are for all the work that you have budgeted. You could have it as a cascade, as a WBS to say how many hours are you going to use for the job. Okay, for first week this is just 2 blasting, 2 1, then 16 hours. But if they ask you, okay, we just want the cumulative or we want the overall total, so the overall is the first line, which is this. And they may ask you, okay, we want both the overall and the cumulative. You can right click, customize, or spreadsheet, sorry, not spreadsheet option, we'll talk about that later. Uh, Customize and say, okay, we want both the cumulative units, which is the cumulative budgeted unit, and the budgeted. The cumulative means that it's going to be adding the preceding into the future, adding and adding until it gets to the total final one. So this is the cumulative. So from 40, it's gone to 98. That is 40, and 58 is 98. 98 plus 58 is 155. 155 plus 23 is 178. So it maintains 178 on and on till the end of the project. The same with this. So if I minimize everything, I can either minimize that way or right click and collapse all, and then click on one line and it gives me this. So if I minimize, then I will find the budgeted, which is this, and I'll find the cumulative, which is the one below, and on like that. If I want to print out, don't forget, you go to this, you start fiddling with the options of how long you want it to. You just want the spreadsheet. So how long do you want it between February and March, which is what I put here, February and March. So if you see what you have here, it's just February and March. Sometimes it can be so long that you just only have to do one other option. The other option is you right click, you copy all, and just copy and paste it into Excel. Let me see. I don't know if you can see my Excel. If you cannot see my Excel, all you could do is click on any of the boxes, Control A, which is highlight, and Control C, which is copy. Open your Excel sheet and Control paste, Control P, and you have all this information on your Excel sheet. Sometimes it could be difficult to do. Sometimes it could be easy, but that is one of the ways to just dump all this information into Excel. Can you, after making some changes in Excel, can you upload it back? The answer is a no and a yes, because a no would interpret that you have to have a setting, or you have to have an approval setting. Also, you have to have, and when I mean setting, that's let me take you to what I mean by setting. I want to import. It's going to ask me whether I need to import by spreadsheet, which is why I said it's a yes, but it's a no because I want to export as a standard spreadsheet. So you can't just put anything on a spreadsheet on Excel and just import it and it takes you to where it is. That's no. You have to export it to a standard, you have to export it to a standard. I think it's telling me no, I cannot. You cannot export Excel Y subunit or sub for duration time are enabled. Please disable the subunit users preference law. So there is a setting that needs to be complied to in in Excel sheet before you can then use that Excel sheet and import it back. So the setting has to be there. So this is it about as resource. Can you make changes? Yes, you can make changes. But if you make changes, already you're making changes to the hours, to the budgeted units you have here. Do you want to spread this across? The answer is yes, it's possible to spread it across. If you're going to spread it across, you need to go to the activity. And what's this? 1170. I know that I've said a lot. I just felt I need to say some. You need to then tell this duration type and say, I want a fixed unit, but you can change the duration. I want a fixed unit. Let's see. Okay. I think I've done it already before giving me. So view log option. I'm coming schedule automatically. I don't want it to schedule automatically again. If you remember last week, I set it to schedule automatically. That is, once I make any changes, just make that change. So I'll go back again. Did you notice that what I have has changed? It's changed to 21, 40, 40, 23. Now let me go into this because this is 58, 58. And 58 to me looks big. So I'm going to 1020, 1020, so 1020, okay. 1020. 18 days. So I want to change the unit such that it balances up to so this resource assignment. Okay, still on 58. What am I missing? 1020 version. Systems complete. Yeah, get you not fix unit here. What was the calendar? Two shift. It's a two shift calendar. Let me see. Two shifts means it's 12 hours per day. And 12 hours per day. 12 two shift calendar. I did a two shift calendar, meaning that it's a 12 hours per day. And 12 hours means that even though it's 8 hours in the resource, even though it's let's go into blast here, even though it's a one per day, I think I've made it like one person or one what's it called? One person per day. Let me use man, which is purely labor, because what this means is non-labor, and non-labor, I cannot change the quantity per se because I don't have any unit for measurement. So whatsoever I have here is 58 will remain as 58 because it's a non-labor. But let me go to labor, pure labor, so that we could see some changes. I know this is there's going to be a lot of questions here, but which is why I saved this for the last. So even this is okay because this is just 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours. And we seem to be satisfied with the 3 hours here. This is 5 hours, 5 hours. I'm not seeing 10 hours or 11 hours budgeted. If I'm seeing something like 12 hours or 8 hours or 9 hours. So I think all this is okay. Now, how do I know it's okay? This is 5 hours. This is 3 hours per activity. Don't forget that Don't forget that when we're at resources, we said it's 8 hours per day. So if this is going to give me just 3 hours for between 4 to 5th, it means that I'm going to have very little hours per day, which is 1 per day, and the other hour is 2 per day, 2 hours per day. Don't forget the maximum is 8 hours, but by the time I assigned 3 hours, it becomes 1 and 2. 1 and 2 means that for 1 day, the priming is just 1 hour. If I would change this to like 12 hours, or which is 6, or let me say 90 hours, which is 44 and 44, which is quite massive. So this is 1510. I'm going to the activity, find 1510. Two days. Let me make this unit percentage complete and make it fix. So previously it was 3 days, 4 hours. Let me see what will happen. So it's giving it, still gives it 3 days. Let me be units per time. Still giving us 3. You see my resource, 8 hours. Let's see. Let's see if I'll change it. And 2 hours. Okay. The activities is 3 days. So that would, let me change that to, give that 5 days. It's 10 to 10 activities. So it's changed it to 130. 130. This is 44. And then this is 93. So number 4. So it's locked. It's locked this. Let me see the reason for the lock. Yeah. So okay. So that was me. This expiration and unit. Yeah, so it's opening back 128. So this is 5 days, 2 to 19. So I can change this 40. See, change 3. That's this is 113. So it extended the duration, which is where I'm going. So the duration has been extended to 19 days. Now, those are the things you can do to I've not gone against it. So those are the things you can do to resource assignment, which is kind of redistributing the resource. I think we spent so much time on this, but let's go back into activity. Okay. So let's go back to activity. Similar to this is resource user. I think we wouldn't be able to finish all what we've said. Similar to this is the resource usage spreadsheet. When you click on the resource usage spreadsheet, what we are trying to do is that um, we are trying to create a break between the activity, the resource assignment, and the the resource spreadsheet, which is this, and it gives us just the units, or we could also change it to the cost. So if I have Painter, because I've clicked on Painter, I would have just only Painter and all the activities here. I can right click and add more and customize and say, okay, I want activity name, and it gives me the activity name. So with this, I can just click on any of these and then start looking at the activities for the blast, the paint. And when I look at that, I could also come here and then do the same thing that I did in resource assignment. In resource assignment, I came here and made cumulative. So I could do that here as well. Right click here, spreadsheet option. No, sorry, I'm always coming to spreadsheet option. Right click, spreadsheet field, customize, and cumulative or time interval costs. I want to see the costs, budgeted cost. Click on the budgeted cost and then let me take away this because I've talked about units and the cumulative cost. Is going to be 0 because we didn't assign, but this is to give you a feel of it. So if you notice, it's all 0 because we didn't assign any cost. But if you assign cost to it, we can also make changes. And there are ways to assign cost to resource. I might have to deal with that next week, assigning cost to it. Now, after looking at this, it's possible for me to also print what I have seen. I would go to print, go to option, go to spreadsheet. I might say, okay, I don't want to see the activity tables. I just want to see the spreadsheet. I don't want to see the Gantt chart. I want to see just the spreadsheet. And it gives me the whole spreadsheets that I have and the information in the spreadsheet. So this is the hydro bar, which is the resource. This is the activity name, cumulative, and gives me all the details. But if I want to see that coupled with the activity, I could click just the activity. It gives me the upper side, the activity. And when I go to the lower side, which is this side, which is this, go down. Yeah. So after the upper side, like I said, the activity, the lower side is the resource information. Now, after we will touch more on this next week, but let me go on the resource usage profile. I will touch a little on them, and next week I would repeat myself in some of them, and I'll try to cover the things I didn't cover. I just want us to finish and have more time for questions. Now, when I click on this, profile is different from spreadsheet. Spreadsheet gives me a tabular information on the numbers or the hours or the unit or the cost. But profile is a bit different. It's graphical, it's histogram approach. You can click on the resource. The purpose of profile is to look at how many hours per the whole job. So bring this here. And because I have this per month, the histogram is going to give me the information per month. So when I click on cleaner, don't forget is I'm using current filter. Yeah, current. I'm not using all so that I'm able to get what I need. So if I click on cleaner, it tells me how many hours cleaners are going to use. Then this is limit. Limit tells me the maximum hours that I have in the project, that I have assigned in the resource as to what cleaners should be 8 hours a day. So 8 hours a day, but if I multiply 8 hours a day times 8 hours a day times 5 days, which is 40 hours a week, times 4 weeks, which is 4 times 4 is 160. So if you notice, if you look at the limit is around 150, 160, 170. Is flowing within that 160, 170. However, the amount of hours I have budgeted for cleaner in the program per month is quite less, meaning that we have not exhausted the cleaner. Let's look at hydroblast, the same thing. Portman is just a maximum of about 80. In fact, what this is saying is that after let me look at that. Okay, after January 2025, we don't need any Portman painter. Now, this is where you can move this as well. So this is where painter. So almost all of them we have not exhausted. Wow, now we got to the blast. And the blast is telling me that I have exceeded the limit. So, which is called the overtime allocation. I will take you to this place later on. This is rates priming. I've exceeded the limit. So we're using about 1,500. So these are discussions I take back to my manager or the commercial guys and say, look, we might need more than one blast rate primers because the job, or we might need to extend it because this is way out. This is about 150, but we're using 1,500. So this is about 15 times more than what we have. We would need more people if we are going to maintain the date, or we might resource level or resource smooth, which is what we're going to talk about next week. The clients here, the client is fine. Paint, the paint also we need to review the paint. So how do we make all this setting here? Don't forget what the time scale is. Time scale is dealing with this. Options is telling me is taking me to this box, and this is where I start playing with the data. I don't need the cumulative. I just need. So I will apply. So it's taking away those two lines. So if you notice those two lines, let me click it back. Apply. The two lines comes and it comes as yellow and the blue. So the blue means actual and it's standing on the 0 line, meaning that there's no actual. Apply, those two goes away. Remaining early, that goes away. Remaining late, that comes back and stack itself. Show limit, I can click here. I've taken away the limit, so it's only giving me budget and actual. Or do I want it in cost? If I apply cost, it's going to be 0 because don't forget there is no cost. So I will leave it as this graphic. I want solid. I don't want dotted line. That's on the graphics here. Notice the change. It's all boxed into dotted line. I don't want any of them. Click on that and it takes all that away. Show me the histogram in 3D bars. Take away the legend 3D. So if you look at that, that's the limit at which 3D goes. I want the backgrounds to be hash color. Apply. Go back again. Resource options, graphics. Calculate average. Now, average, I may say I don't need the average, but let have the definition of average means that what is the average numbers of people that should be on site per day. That's what that calculation means. And that would require calculations like, okay, we need 10 people on site. According to the plan that we have, we need 20 people on site per day. 20 times 8 hours a day. So this is a rough estimate. 20 times 8 hours a day, which is 160 hours a day. So 160 hours per day, I can just put 160 hours per day, but this is per month because this is month. So 160 hours times that's my calculator. 160 hours times 160 hours a day times 5. What was my calculation? 160 hours times 5, which is 800 for a month, times 4, 3,200. I'll say 3,200. So now that I've put 3,200, I would pick all of them. Let me see, it's supposed to show me a line of 3,000. Show me limit. Show average based on hours. So it's giving me all that. I said, so it's giving me an average and it's calculated the average on his own terms because I said it should show me based on 172. But if I say should give me total average based on 150. What was my calculation? My calculation was 160. And my calculation was 160. So it's giving me this, and from my calculation, we would use about 20. We'd use about 20. We would need about 25 people on site maximum, and we are going to use the minimum of 6 hours. Now, I know that I have bombarded you with all this. Resource can be very complex. It can be complex because resource has a lot of variables. So I know that I've bombarded you with so many things. In fact, I have not finished resource. I've not done resource leveling, resource. I did a little of leveling. I did a little when I started changing the duration and making it 40 hours, something like that. But I didn't change the end date, and I didn't allow anything to affect the end date. That's another thing. Now, before I release you, allow me to take so much of your time before I release you to ask me question. Once the resource is completed, or once you have agreed on what the resource is, you've agreed on what the cost is, you have agreed on the activity ID, you have agreed on the finish date, you've agreed on, please take note of this, you've also agreed on unit for measurement. unit for progress. We will continue resource late next week, but if you have agreed unit for measurement, unit for progress, and saying, okay, this, for example, this I would make it physical percentage complete. That what that I'm going to ask the cleaner, have you removed? It says yes, 100%. If he says no, 0%. I have agreed with the cleaner how we are going to measure progress. I have understand the whole program, the relationship. I have checked the relationship. If you want to check the health status of your relationship, you click on this, you schedule, and you go back again and check the view log. I've been able to check the health status of my project, and I'm happy with this. We will talk about this next week. I've been able to check on the health status, and I feel that the integrity, and this is the key word, the integrity of your program is defendable, is reliable, can be used, can be presentable to the client. It has everything the client requires, the stakeholders require. The stakeholders are the internal stakeholders, the engineers, the external stakeholders, that's the clients. It's resource loaded, and there is a high level of satisfaction and approval. Please take note of all the words I've said. Then you can say you have a program. Otherwise, you do not have a program. You do not have a program, or you do not have a plan when the integrity of your plan is still at stake. This is where the hassle, the stress in putting relationships, in putting activity names, activity IDs, the engineers can see that, the project managers can see that, and they're all satisfied. There and then, you can then do what is called baseline. Now, let me assume I'm the client. I'm not satisfied. Why am I not satisfied? I'm going to give you one reason. I might say, oh, okay, yes, you have the milestones. These are finished milestones, finished milestones. I need a summary of all these levels. You can't just give me all these activities and say, oh, set up ventilation, and after that, go. I need a high-level summary, such that when I ask for a high-level summary, you give me a high-level summary. But you tell me, but sir, excuse me, if I just click here and just say, show me summary only, it will show me all the summary. And I mean, you should be satisfied with all this summary. Okay, yes, I'm satisfied, but if I click on the summaries and I go to resource, I cannot find any information on the resource. But if you want the resource, you can go back again. Now, if I'm the client, you have no choice than to satisfy my request. In fact, if I'm the internal stakeholders at the high level, you have no choice than to satisfy my request. So to satisfy my request, you can click here, create an activity, and say summary information for CSS 2.1. Finish. Summary information for CSS 2.1. So go to general, click here, WBS summary, schedule. Did you notice it started from the start of the project of this information to the end of this information? That is the purpose of summary, the summary activity. Now, with this summary, it's giving me all the information, it's giving me a summary of all the start and finish dates of what we have here, summary information. Now I can then click here and add resource. If I add all this resource, give me all this resource. So when they say, please give me summary information of all your projects, all I need to do is I can call this S1 summary. And then I can filter and say, please, activity ID, I've made it unique that contains S, activity ID that contains S. So it gives me only for the ones that I have put, and then I can submit this to the client that is asking me that, oh, I want a summary information of everything. I want you to give me summary information of everything. I just want to have that. You get me? So this is one of the ways to use an activity, which I didn't tell you before, an activity WBS summary. If they say replicate all what you have done in everything, all I can do is take a copy and start pasting here and changing the name, pasting and changing the name. Let me do that for just this copy. Um, uh, Copy, paste. Please don't show me this. Show me that again, okay. And I will say summary information, ATU, one. Don't be bothered by the dates. By the time I reschedule, it would, because it's a summary information, it will take on the image of the start and finish for that WBS. I can do the same here. Paste some information for so let me take away the filter, and I will schedule is having it as S. So if you look at this, between March to April 2024, which is a carbon copy of the image of the date here. So it takes the date and keeps my resource. This can be used to smoothen resource sort of, but doesn't necessarily mean the resource has been smoothened. It can only smoothen resource at high level, and then we can say, oh, this is it. So let me go back again and say, give me the summary information and make sure you take away the ones that don't have, hide the ones that are empty. So it's giving me this. I can submit this to the client, or if they say, okay, just only those information, don't tell me any other thing. I will delete all what is here and we apply. So it gives me only this information. I may go back again, tell me this is, I just need the top level 1. So I'll go back again, WBS, just level 1. I know that I'm fast. I know that I'm really fast, but I will give time for questions. So this is just the summary information, and it's giving me all this information. These are part of what is called a level 1 project, a level 1 activity, because it gives me a high level summary of everything that I need to discuss. So sorry, this will be considered as a level 2 because it's already having the activities, it's already having the resource that I have assigned to it. And I tell the client, this is our level 2 information. And these were the resources that we've made use of, and things like that. And that gives me the information. This one is critical, and things like that. So that's one of the ways to use WBS summary. Another type of activity that I didn't mention that I would like to mention, I know I'm bombarding you, but I'd like to mention that is the client might come back, or so WBS summary, or the client might come back and say, give me one line fits all between the start date and the finish date, or between the whole of deck one. I don't care what is in between. I just need a one line fits all for the whole of this, for the whole of deck one. For the whole of deck one, I just need one line fits all. So I would click on this one line. I'm looking for a one line. Deck one scope. I need one line. So I'm going to, because I need that one line, I'm going to convert it to a level of effort, because it's just an effort driven, and the effort is the relationship. So effort driven, what's the start of the project? I can click here. The meaning of start means that I want this to drive this, and I want this to drive the end. The end of it could be September, May. Okay, December is the end. December 27. Where's December 27? Yeah. So successor, December 27. Bear in mind, I have click on the start. It's showing me 5 days, but I know that it's not 5 days. It's a level of effort. I need it to represent the 8th to the 27th of December. I have not put any duration. When I schedule, okay, predecessor. Let us start. Successor. Oh, you think? Oh, okay. Let me go back again. Sorry, there's something I missed. So going back to the dates. Okay, this is 27, so I'll make this finish. I'll make the last one finish to finish, and I'll make the start to start. And let me schedule again. And you notice the change. So the change has been from the start of the project to the end of the project. With this, I can also put the advantages. I can put all the resources that I did and say for the whole project, this is what we used. The difference between a level of effort and a summary, the S, is with the summary, I don't need a relationship, but with level of effort, I need relationships to drive it. With this, it just stays. So I can use them interchangeably depending on how I need those information. Let me stop. Okay. Oh, okay. I promise that I will give you the baseline, and then we will continue again. So now that I've done this WBS summary and level of effort, and the client is satisfied and they say, yes, it's good to go, I can then create a baseline. A baseline is an agreement. A baseline is an agreement between us, between all stakeholders, that we are satisfied with what the project is, how the project is presented, the content of the project. Content includes the activity names, ID, start date, finish date, duration, resource, resource assignment, activity type, relationship type. They are satisfied with the total float. They are satisfied with the critical part. We are also satisfied with the measurement. Measurement as in progress measurement, then I can then confirm, and everybody is satisfied, I can then confirm this to be our baseline. A baseline means an agreement. So I'm saving a copy of this as our baseline. And I'm saying this is automatically is going to put the word B1 just to make it different from what is here. And that is it. It's already added. I'm going to then go back again. Yeah. Assign baseline. I'm going back again. I said the project baseline is B1. Assign it. Sometimes I put it in primary baseline. Primary project baseline is baseline, the main baseline. Primary baseline is the first, secondary, second, tertiary, third. Now that I've done that, I can then, after doing this, I can then do things like making progress, doing end value, and scheduling of the project. So, sorry, I went way more than I have more to say, but I have been so much conscious of the time and a lot of things I jumped, but we'll come back again to it and then deal. I think next week we will deal more about it and we'll be able to really tackle everything. So if you have any question, please let me know. I apologize taking longer. I've almost gone 2 hours instead of 1 hour, but Temitope, the type of laptop you can use, I can only recommend a Windows-based laptop. They are very good for Primavera because they are old partners and they have their codes being sorted out. So a modern day Windows laptop will be fine. But let's talk about that later on. Please, can I get contact email of the instructor? You can get my contact if you are in the group. You have my contact, and then we can talk baseline.
So
Adeline.
I'm not in the group, sir. I'm not in the group, sir.
Okay.
Please, I need the contact and the email, sir, please.
Okay. Let me put it here. My
Thank you, sir.
email address is Magnus. And my number is 078.
I hope it is WhatsApp number, sir, so I can chat you up.
Yes, it was up number.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Baseline. Adeline, I don't know what you mean by baseline. Could you let me know what you mean by baseline? If you have any question, please indicate by raising your hand so that I would.
Sorry for disturbing and taking you back, sir. The email and the contact number, I'm not seeing it on my own personal chat here, and I'm not in the main group chat. I don't know why I'm not seeing other people's chat.
How did you get into this? Okay, let me pick it out.
Okay.
I would type that. You should see it now. So I was doing the Sea Green project.
Yes,
My
I've seen it,
duration
sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no worries. It's usually in days.
Okay.
Not in days, hours like yours, sir.
Sorry.
Please, do you know how I can adjust it? Okay, let me tackle that now. Adjusting it is you go to edit. Under the edit, you see all this and you see user preference as the last. I think in one of the meetings I said with you, you need to play about with it. So I'm saying show unit that show hours, then show duration and show days. So this is where you see hours and days. If I don't want it, I just click this off and click on close. If I click on close, did you notice that everything that you saw before has gone? All the hours and all the likes, days is gone. It's giving me zero, which is what I don't like. And hence the reason why I refer back to that, because zero is meant for milestones. So that was the reason why I did that. Any question? Let me check before I call it a day. Okay, I would assume there is no question. Next week will be a little bit tough, and it will be tough because I really need to catch up with anything that I really need to catch up with anything that I haven't talked about, and then we would call it a day we'll call it a close for the year. If there is no question, I would like to thank every one of you that has participated. If you have any other questions or anything comes to your mind, please go to the WhatsApp and tackle it and just send me a message there, and I should be able to pick it up. Thanks again, everyone, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you,
Magnus.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Magnus.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye now.
No worries. Thanks.
I think I need to stop the recording.